Hello, everyone. This is Anon. None of this is financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. All right. So, let's go ahead and see how this worked out because I, for the first time, used the bot to try to let people know. What's up, goat? Yo ho! What's up, dude? So did that bot work? I was gonna say, I don't know if it tagged every. Did it actually send a thing out to everyone? Did you guys get a notification? So this is the first time I ever tried it. We linked basically the bot, like the I think it's called like Me6 or something like that. You got your keyboard fixed. Good stuff, man. What's up, RT? What's up, Drake? What's up, Kaput? Was it Kaput Key? RT, Jerry. Nope, no notification. Oh no. And at everyone will literally tag everyone in the Discord. Yeah, it should have gone out and done it in the Anon DD YouTube. Did you guys didn't get that on the Discord though? That's weird. Because it literally says I can attribute nothing bot. That's what we renamed it. Probably should change that name now. I was gonna say that's a mean name. we called it that just in the beginning because it was pushing out like the engagement ones, like if you have notifications off it won't, but at everyone uses. Yeah, I mean, so did you guys get this on the Discord? Did you get at everyone? What's up, sexy man? What's up, Mason? Yeah, Jerry. So it did go through the Discord. Want to make sure it's actually working. Yes, sir. It did. Yes, sir. I did. Or it did. Yeah. Okay. I got the notification from YouTube. Did anyone get it on Discord, though? I'm trying to make sure the bot worked. Basically, in the... What's up, Jason? Yeah, so we basically have this thing here, and normally I do it manually. I post it myself, but today was the first time we tried to use the bot to actually push it out to everyone, so I just wanted to see if it actually did it. I got it on Discord and jumped. Okay, cool. So it did work. That's what I just want to make sure. I'm trying to... We basically... Cyper has been like helping out, and he actually has been getting Discord to like work. And he convinced me to actually pay for the Me6 bot. So we did that. Kaput Key, maybe you have the notifications muted. That's fine if you do, but that might be the reason why. Because, I know sometimes people were abusing the at everyone. I got the Discord notification too. All right, good stuff. Well, that makes things easier. That means I don't have to manually do it every single time. I just basically I mute nothing from Anon. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. Yeah, sorry about last night, guys. One of my best friends actually came into town and didn't let me know, and then he showed up at my house. I was like, "What are you doing, man?" He was like, "I wanted to surprise you." It's like, "All right, well, I guess we're drinking beers." So we hung out for a while. But obviously couldn't have him, couldn't have him come on here with you guys because, he doesn't know too much about stocks. He'll sometimes call me and be like, "Hey, what does this mean?" And I'll help him out with whatever I can. But all right, so the only thing I have to do now is we have to do Twitter, right? Do have to figure out how that works someday. Let's see. Twitter. Yeah, it's a little bit later than normal tonight. My daughter, she keeps me busy, that one. Alright, so we got all the tickers we need. Alright, we got Aterian, WEBR, INDO, HUSA, GME, AMC. What else do people want to talk about tonight? Three-day trades, 5 figures. Nice. Congrats there, bud. That's a nice day, or a nice 3 days for you then. All right. So, ATER went to the moon and stuff. Yeah, I mean we were green, so that's good, but not quite the moon. But we did at least. It looks like we're starting to break out of the downtrend, so that's a good thing. I think what we saw from DZ, and maybe we can do like a collaboration where I can bring DZ back on, because I think that's going to be one of those things. That'd be good to pick his brain once he gets back. I think he said he had a little bit more time in Texas, but then we should be able to get him out. Maybe get him. Have you lost more than 10K on options since you started trading? Yeah, I mean that's like pretty much every retail trader at some point has. I guess the best way to put it is this. It's one of those very steep learning curves that pretty much everyone I know that's been in trading for a long time at some point has, made a bad move on an options trade and it went completely sideways. And yeah, I mean, pretty much everyone does. January 2024, still 170 yeah. I'm telling you guys, those ones are cheap. Like, that much theta and deep in the money, that's pretty cheap. So I'm pretty happy with those right now. Goat's drunk. Corgi is a noun, goat is a drunk. I still fall down laughing when people call 5 cent a gain a run. Yeah. Well, we're 9 cents. All right. I lost on options. Yeah, I mean, pretty much, if you've been trading options, at some point you've gained a huge amount in something and lost a huge amount in something. That's just the way those things work. Sometimes, you think you have a good set on what's going on, and then, yeah, like, honestly, I told you guys I took a 45K loss on Aterian during that gamma squeeze. Like, I was, I thought it was there, and the market crashed during that week, and sometimes the volume died, and that's just what it was. I mean, because it was there for the taking, and we just didn't have enough volume because everyone was afraid of the market. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, like I said, when you deal with options, that's the downside to it. The one nice thing is, the more you can learn, the less it happens. So you can also start trying to protect your trades as well. All right. Do you want to have a peek at NXTP? Okay, fine. Let's take a look at your NXTP. Okay, so it's a penny stock. It got a bunch of volume here. Let's see. So I mean, you're still obviously in an uptrend. It's holding that so far. You're starting to cross over on the Awesome, and you're about to cross over on the TTM. You're positive on the CCI. Your volume, price, and on balance are all rising, so that's good. So far, indicators all look good. It looks like you had a nice day today. Let me take a look at. Let me see something real quick. Let's see if we can find out if there's any red flags on it right off the bat. Okay, let's see. Any red flags? Oh, if you can hit the like button, that'd be great, guys. At least get us rolling for the algo and see if we can pick up some more people talking about stocks. But let's see. So, I did talk to my buddy over at Dilution Tracker, Sean, and he said that it's okay that I can share what this thing looks like. Because so far I didn't want to do it without his permission, but it looks like he said that it should be okay. So this is Dilution Tracker, and what they do is they basically make it really easy for you to figure out if there's any warrants or anything like that. So we said it was NXTP, right? I think that's right. Okay, so obviously off the bat there is some red flags. So you have a high overall risk. They have a high ability to offer, which means that basically it's greater than 20 million. You've got a dilution shelf that's greater than 50%. Historically, they've diluted in the past, and with cash needs, they have a high cash need, which means they need the money. So they have about a month left. They've been burning cash about a rate of negative 5 million, and they only have 2 million on hand. So they're about to run out of money. So what's probably happening is they have these warrants here. And so what they'll do is they'll run the stock up to basically the warrant levels so they can unlock some money. So convertible notes are not registered, so that's okay. They also have an ATM from March that's there, so they can dilute at any time. And their shelf is still, they've got another chunk right there to be raised. They had an S3 offering, about 18 million shares, 14 million of them of warrants. Yeah, so the warrants are at $1.97 and $2. So they're probably going to be trying to basically push this up into that range. So yeah, it's a great tool. And actually, I think we do have a discount code. I'm supposed to be working with Sean on that. If you guys want to DM me, I'll get you all the information. If you're interested in this tool, it's actually really great. I told him I'd plug them because I think the tool is worth it. I found myself actually looking at it way more than I thought I would, because normally I used to do I would do all this stuff manually. I would go into the filings, I'd scrape it, I'd put it into an Excel, and these guys pretty much have made my works. I can glance at stuff now and make a lot faster decisions based off of that. If I find a stock and I look at it and go, oh no, they got a dilution, right on hand, and they've got an ATM that they just issued. Now they're pumping the stock. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I'm able to quickly kind of glance at something and go like that. Yeah. So but they're going to try to push up the stock. I mean, you can see right here they had a big day that day and a lot of volume, and now they're going to. That was basically them alerting that this was the spring. Now they're trying to actually pump up the stock so people notice. You'll get retail pushing into it, and then they'll dilute into it. That's kind of how these small caps work. So, hey Anna, what's up with Aterian? Feeling bullish for July? Yeah, I mean, obviously there's some positive sentiment right now because we've had 3 green days in a row. We're coming up and we bounced off the resistance. They don't want to let it go higher than that because obviously they were going to try to burn options tomorrow. So, was this the low down here? Possibly. I think what we'll probably see is we'll see a push up to maybe like the 380s, and then we'll probably revisit back down into the three. Like if you look at fractal patterns, typically what we would see is we would see it run up to probably 380s, maybe like 85, 388, and then maybe we would push down into like the 250s, 260s, maybe even 240s, but then we would probably start the reversal at that point and go back up. So, you can see the MACD did crossover, and there is right now, the on balance is going up. You've got your, what was blue on this one? Accumulation distribution line. That's going up also. Yeah, so it looks like somebody's accumulating. We're about to cross over on the CCI, and we're not quite there, though, on the Awesome Oscillator or the TTM Squeeze, on the daily at least. Let's see if we change it to the hourly, if there's any difference on that. Yeah, on the hourly, there is at least some there. Some, buy pressure there. You're still positive on the CCI, and let's take a look at the 4-hour. I don't need the right thing. Yeah, so I'd like to see it cross over on the daily, but you can see right now on the 4-hour, the 1-hour, they're both crossed over on the MACD. The daily is about to cross, or daily just crossed. So we should see, I think, some macro change and see a push up. So 380 would be my break even, but probably won't sell then. Definitely won't sell then. Yeah, it's all what you want to do. For me, I think there's more upside on the stock, and I think it's just a matter of time. So, but everyone's got their own risk tolerance, and you can do what you want. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Just reading some notes here. Here we go. All right. So the other one actually I noticed was interesting. I don't know if you guys caught this, but what was it? WEBR. Did you guys see what happened today on them? They ran hard. They had a good day yesterday, but today they really moved. And I started digging in a little bit, and I was like, all right, let's figure out why they moved, right? So, you pull up Ortex, and you find out that WEBR is pretty highly shorted. And I know it was kind of bouncing around, I think, on Wall Street Bets a little bit. If I remember correctly, they were high on it because the amount of short interest was pretty high. In fact, I'll just do this. So I'm going to show you utilization, which has been locked at 100 for a while, since February 8th. So I don't know about you guys, but something's been weird to me, and you guys can tell me what you think. But the way I'm looking at it this way is, all right, here we go. All right, February 8th, GME, AMC, WEBR, a bunch of these highly shorted stocks all hit 100% utilization all on the same day. I don't think, and WEBR's been on the Fintel list for quite some time. The short squeeze list, I think they're number 6 right now. But there's something going on with all these stocks, like BY, they all have been locked at 100% utilization for a really long time. And, it's literally days. Now, the one thing about WEBR is they have not had a ton of, really high cost of borrows yet. So, I think if retail takes an interest in it, then it probably will rise, because right now they aren't, you know, I think, according to Ortex, they're 57.38% short of the free float. Like, that's pretty high. Yeah, I bought in yesterday, Mason. Oh, nice. Congrats. I was going to say, you got in before I did. I got in, I think, around 10. And then I took a ride up to 12 and then came back down. But, something's going on here. Like, it can't be a coincidence that every one of these stocks all hit 100% utilization the same day. Like, something's going on. So, anyway, I'll take a screenshot of this and I'll show you guys. That way you can see. But, like, there's a lot of shares on loan. There's a lot of, like, just highlighting some of these things so you can see some exchange reported SI, Vortex reported. Yeah, so here, let me do this. Let me hit that. Okay, here we go. Open it up for you guys so you can see. So, right, check this out. Yeah, I think this is fine. So, look at that. Like, that's pretty high. Like, almost 60% of the float's shorted. And that was exchange reported. That wasn't just like Vortex guessing. That was like literally like exchange reported data. Cost of borrow is starting to rise, but like it's not super high yet. Utilization, though, has been 100% since February 8th, which is right here. So, that's a long time to be at 100% utilization. So is Aterian. Aterian's March 8th, but February 8th coincides with AMC and GameStop. So, but yeah, you can see, like, it's got a 95% squeeze score on Ortex, and on Fintel, I believe it's number 6 on the short squeeze board. So I noticed it. I thought I'd bring it up to you guys. I do have a small position in it. I don't have a huge position, but and I was half tempted to sell at 12, but I was like, you know what, this looks interesting, and I didn't see short interest really shrinking that much. So, and I looked, and there's no warrants that I saw that were like significant. Yeah. They're a big company. Like, their balance sheet's a little bit of a mess because they took on some debt because everything got more expensive during the pandemic for them to assemble parts, stuff like that. But, they're still a really big company. Like, most people know who WEBR grills are. So, yeah. I don't know. You tell me, guys. What do you think? Like, that one definitely is obviously interesting. I'll do this to any ones that you guys want me to cover. Because I'm planning on writing a DD that kind of talks about all these different stocks and see what's out there. And, the whole goal is to make money, right? So, like, we got to figure out, which ones make sense. And then, obviously, I tend to bring a lot of my profits back to Aterian because I do think long-term they're going to be higher down the road. So, while the stock price is down at these levels, I like scooping up shares. But we'll see how much longer that they allow the stock to be down at these levels, because down like sub 3, retail starts scooping up these things pretty fast. And so, let's see. All right. So who brought up Aterian and after hours? You scared it. So Aterian and after hours, if I remember correctly, everything was good. It was actually pretty high, and then on the last candle, it went from like almost there all the way, and it closed, I think, right like 272 or something like that. Someone unloaded a good amount of shares. So now that may not all be, but it was just funny because obviously that's a big candle. So. Yeah, DTC. You guys want to cover that one? So DTC, a lot of you guys know that I've been in on this for a while. And the stock really just moves really easily because it doesn't have a ton of volume ever. So like you saw, like on 800,000, it moved up what, like 11%, like 50 cents. Like on this day right here, I believe it was about 2 million. Was that right? No, 1 point. Is it one? Yeah, almost 2 million. It was like 1.8. Yeah, but they had a nice day here where it moved, I don't know, somewhere around like $1 and some change, like $1.50. So, yeah, I mean, DTC, I think, is long term. I like them. I'm actually adding them in shares because I actually want to buy down at these levels. The CEO and the CFO of that company bought, like, insiders are buying that stock. And, you know, I like the fact that the CEO and the CFO both were like, yeah, that's completely like, we want to buy these shares. Not like gifted, but like literally bought shares down there. So let's see. We've been doing a little bit with the float, and I had a friend that came through and wanted to show me what he thought the float is, which is he, you know, he basically took the two numbers together. Here, let me do this. So, see if we can zoom in a little bit. Will that work? Okay, so maybe that's a little better. All right, so if these are the Class A's, these are the Class B's. B's are typically insiders. In this case, DTC has the same voting rights for the same for the Class B shares. So those two together give you 94 million, right? But B's don't typically trade on the open market. So, but he was saying that he thought you just combine these two. Bloomberg has essentially, here, I'll do it over here. So we'll say Alex method. And so what we'll do is we'll take, so we'll say equal this number minus. Now I found this, let me see if I can find it. Fish had sent me the Bloomberg for that, and I can see if I can find it. Where is it? But I think it was like 80 million. Let's see. I don't know where it is. But he had sent me basically this screenshot of basically the insider ownership with institutions on the Bloomberg, and it came out to about 80 million. So we'll just call it 80 million because that's the number I saw on there. Oops, that's not what I want. Let's just say 80 million, right? Is that right? No, did I put too many? There we go. So that would give you 14 million as the float, right? With all the insiders, all the institutions together, right? And then if you have about 2.8 million short interest, right? We'll say. So we'll say this divided by the float will give you about 20%, and that's what basically the institutions are reporting on that, right? If you go to Ortex, I think it's about 20% is what it's showing on DTC. But here's the thing, like you don't really trade Class B shares, so really if you look, the shares outstanding on any one of these is going to show you that it's only 63 million, but you have a free float. I'll show you. Right here. All right. So you have shares outstanding at 63.4 million. but yet you have 80 million people that are 80 million institutions and insiders that own the stock. Like, that's why I was getting a negative float, because I'm going, okay, if there is 42 million insider shares and, you know, you take that away from 63, you get a float of 21 million. But then when you add up all the institutional ownership, you find out that they actually own more than the stock. So, yeah, it's something's going on there. Okay, let me read some questions for you guys. But yeah, so I was going to say, I expect DTC to actually make a nice run at some point. It's breaking out of the downtrend again. So it was back in the downtrend. Now it's coming up. We'll see. Obviously, it's going to need market not to tank. But for me right now, it looks like it kind of make a double bottom. And now it's going to be heading back up. And you can see right here, the Ichigo is going to be kind of like awaiting it and seeing if it can get back in and above the cloud. So, but we've been down here this entire time. Like, if you actually go back on the, if we zoom out, this thing's been just a falling knife, and it's been waiting to come back up. And, could that be in July, when it starts kind of getting back in that range? Could be July into, like, maybe August. But yeah, like, it's a stock that I think will pop at some point, and it'll pop pretty hard when it does. Okay, let's read some questions that you guys wrote. I doubled my money on Jupiter crypto today. Buy low, sell high 7 times. Congrats. All right. Yeah. So, does being added to the Russell 100, 200, or 3,000, Russell 1,000, 2,000 often make a stock run? No, not usually, because you may see some added buying pressure, but it doesn't typically usually make them run. Who got added? Who got added to the Russell? I know, didn't BBB or BBIG, didn't they get added to the Russell 3000 or something like that? Or there's some news about that? I didn't watch them today. How'd they do? All right. So it's 6% day, and they got added, right? So, I mean, pop, run, probably not, but you will see some added buying pressure. All right. Would love to hear thoughts on REV, the current day REV box. All right. I knew some people were going to ask about this. So, let's zoom in. I told people yesterday I didn't like the gap up. What do we have today? We did gap fill. So, sorry, I'm chewing some. Told you I didn't like gaps. Today was the gap fill. That said, indicators show, yes, it gave itself some room. So it was up on the overbought. Now it's came down slightly. What I would like to see now is an increase of volume. The question is, are they issuing warrants out? Because they do have, or not warrants, the ATM. Revlon, I believe, has an active ATM right now. Anyone that doesn't know what that means, just means at the money, offering. They don't particularly need a ton of cash at this point, but I mean, most companies right now would like to just have it on hand going into uncertain times. Now, remember, this is a company that's filed for Chapter 11 to redo their structure. So, obviously, they're having some difficulties if you're filing Chapter 11. But they do have a 75 million shelf, and they do have an active ATM going. So, I'm not sure if they used any of it today to drop the price a little bit. Because those ATMs, they can issue at any time. Or are they going to try to run it up higher so they can get some more money out of it? I mean, obviously, you want to have it up higher when you issue at a ATM. You don't want to issue it down here. You want to issue it when it's running. There's good volume. So I think that's what I'd like to see is a continuation of volume. You're still on the TTM squeeze. You're still good there. You're good. You've switched over on the awesome oscillator. You're still positive on the CCI. Your trends are still going up. Your OBV and your money flow is slightly lower than it was, obviously, on this day. It looks like some people took profits there, obviously. You're going to have that on tops, where you had 3 big moving days. The stock probably moved down pretty heavily and pretty fast. And so you'll see people selling out and taking profits there. But does the stock necessarily mean that it's over? No, I don't think so. One bad day doesn't make, like a stock tank. But once again, this is all going to be dependent on what happens. Does it fall more? Once it falls more, then it's like, okay, well then, are they issuing shares out? I mean, or is retail just, not paying attention anymore? But I mean, there was 40 million in volume, right? Versus 180. So what was the deal with their short interest? Let's take a look at Ortex, right? Because I don't remember their numbers offhand. So, REV. Okay, so shares outstanding is 52 million. They've got about 5.26 million free float. And so, very small float, obviously. The question is, did they cover most of it yet? I mean, they're showing right now 75% of the free float is shorted on REV. So, they filled the gap today. I think at this point right now, they have a possibility to keep going because they filled the gap here, so... and they made a little bit of room. You might see another red day in consolidation, letting the RSI cool off a little bit because you don't typically want to be screaming up here the entire time on the RSI. So, but yeah, I was going to say, I do think they're going to probably take another move up before they start issuing out that ATM, but just be aware that the ATM is there, and at some point they can raise money against that, which means that, if the stock was squeezing, they could issue out those shares during it and raise money that way. Because obviously they're going through a Chapter 11. They do need cash. So cash needs not like super, super important right now because the way they're structuring things it looked like, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Okay. Redbox. So people wanted to talk about Redbox too. Okay, so Redbox. Let's take a look. Yeah, so here's my thing about Redbox. Now the MACD's crossed over negative. You still have high, money flow, but it is not crossing over on the CCI. It is now getting this downside of the awesome oscillator, and if it keeps going this way without a nice pull up, then you're looking at a ton of pain, because these guys, when they announce the merger, it's going to fall through the floor. Now, that said, let's take a look and see if we can find out the FTDs on this thing, because I would imagine they are a lot. Now, once again, these brokers are not on your side, and they are... yeah, I mean, according to Ortex, they are 109.06% short of the free float, with about a 700% cost to borrow. I mean, that's pretty insane. But they shut off options. And since they've shut off options, they have been basically, they screwed retail. Now, they keep saying, well, no, they should have never had options. Well, they didn't have options for months and months and months and months. And then they allowed these guys to basically open these options up. So I think they were doing it so they could hedge. And then they shut them back down. So I don't like this. I think retail got screwed on this one. And it could still go up. But at this point right now, with the options being out of the way and sell only, retail can't add any more gamma to this. The gamma component's basically been screwed. And now it's just a short squeeze play. So, but the problem is, if they kick the can down the road long enough, they're going to get the merger details, and that's what's going to screw the squeeze. And so, I mean, I want people in here that know me. I'm trying to do my best to be very fair about this. I hope that all the people that are in this get their squeeze, and this stock goes to the moon, and everyone gets really, really rich. But I want you to just be aware that these brokers don't want to pay you that money. And they're going to do their damnedest to make sure that you don't get that money. Because they don't want to end up losing money because you made money. Because this is how most of the time it works. Your broker usually takes the other side and makes sure that because they make more money when you lose money. Like, that's the truth, and that's a problem, because when your interests are not aligned to your customers, and you're basically like making more money off your customers losing money, that's not a good thing. And that's like having the wolves watch the hen house. Like, it's not a good thing. And these brokers, they're the ones that are failing to deliver all these millions and millions of shares. So I just want to throw that out there for you guys, that it seems to me, at least, that these brokers do not want this to happen. And so they're probably lending out every bit they can to make sure that the price looks as unattractive as possible. And at some point, if they can kick the can long enough, when the merger details come out and they announce a date, then that's going to be an issue, because now you have a hard and fast, like, if this thing doesn't happen by then, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of every time I see the merger stuff, retail usually gets hurt. And so I'm just trying to warn anyone that's in this, just be aware that if they're trying to buy time at this point, and if they get the time, they will eventually announce the merger details. And once those merger details come out, what will end up happening is they have a set date on when they can basically cover. And so all they have to do is shorts is just hold on until that date, and then they'll be able to just cover everything. Because when these merger things, I think they're getting 0.0687 or something like that conversion rate. So like the stock's going to be worth far, 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 far less. So not a good thing. So just want to throw all that out there for you guys. All right. So what was the next one? But once again, none of this is financial advice. I just want you guys to be very careful because so I just want to bring this up. So I reconnected with a guy that grew up down the street from me, and I was looking at his LinkedIn, and I noticed that he and his best friend from the same high school that I went to, but I graduated like probably 10 years before him. But I noticed they started their own broker-dealer. And so I hit him up, and I'm like, I'm into stocks and trading, but I said, listen, I think you guys, let me see your product. And I downloaded his product. They launched in the App Store about 2 weeks ago. And, they have a good little niche idea, and it's kind of like a complimentary like tool that some people could use. I've got actually a couple friends of mine that are not as like, stock savvy, but they've always wanted to learn options but never did. And so their thing kind of helps them, it helps them, I guess, like it simplifies options for like your average like layman that doesn't know how to use options. But anyway, I started talking to him, and I said, listen, you guys could also be looking long term and bigger. That like someday you guys could be, if you tell me how you feel about this. But I started telling him about these broker dealers have been screwing retail traders for a long, long time. And like when we buy shares, none of our shares hit the market. I was like, have you guys looked into like maybe as a like long-term goal when you guys become like a full brokerage, full service brokerage, that you could actually just route all your stuff through IEX. It's a lot more fair, I think, because they use like kind of the middle for the bid ask, and like, just getting away from, they were like, well, the biggest thing with brokerages is most of them make their money through payment for order flow or selling your data. So, for example, when you put in a stop loss, like many brokerages are selling your stop loss information to Citadel and all these other things, right? And then all that information gets distributed all across the market. So everyone knows where your stop loss is. Everyone knows where your sell stuff is. When you put a buy order in, they know where that is. They know that you want to buy the stock, so they'll start pushing the price up to make you pay more for it. Just all these things that are not aligned for the the consumer, right? So anyway, so like I was saying, would you be willing to share the name of the brokerage? Yeah, there. I think it's called Optionality. I downloaded it. The two guys are Adam and Alec. They're both good guys. I guess Alec got his start. He worked for Susquehanna at a school, I think, and he's actually like a Carnegie Mellon like MBA candidate. But I'll let the Discord know, because I do plan on actually having these guys on with me at one point next week, because I think it's an interesting thing. Because for years, this is something that I would have done myself, but I had no idea where to start. Like, I didn't have the background in the smart money. I've never tried to I wouldn't know the first thing to do about like running a brokerage. Well, this guy Alec had like actually taken like 18 series exams and like passed all these things, like basically stuff that probably would take most professionals like years to do. He like knocked out apparently in like 3 months. Smart guy, obviously. And so like that was pretty impressive off the bat. But he we've all talked, and they were like, listen, we believe you guys in retail have a problem and we want to help solve it. And I was like, you have a really big chance of actually, like, if you guys could do what Robinhood should have done, which was be for the people, like that would, like, even if I have to pay a couple cents extra every single time I trade, I'm willing to do that if my shares actually hit the lit exchange. And they're like, yeah, we could do that. They're like, we could be really transparent and say, listen, like, we're going to charge you like this, you'll see what our profit is, but at the same time, we're going to let your shares actually hit the lit exchange every single time. Like, we'll route strictly through IEX. and that's on every single transaction. And I was like, wow, like that would be really cool, wouldn't it? Like to actually have your shares hitting lit exchanges and not getting sucked up off. Like, so right now, I just want to show you guys an example. And this is something that is near and dear to me because let me take a screenshot of this. Let's do one that I noticed today. Like, so what was one of the hot tickers today? WEBR, right? WEBR was one of the ones that was kind of... All right, so perfect example. I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and I'm going to bring it over so you guys can take a look at this. All right. All right, here we go. Check this out. So here's what I'm talking about. Number one, look at the spread, right? This is the spread is huge on these things, and it shouldn't be that high. Now, granted, this is like after hours, but during the day, I was watching this thing, and it was pretty tight when it was going up. But when it was free falling down on this waterfall, and I'll show you guys the waterfall on this thing. So if we'll pull up WEBR, this is where I'm talking about. This is where brokerages and all this will fit together in a second when I show you this. All right. But look at this, right? So the bid ask was, I think, I have a screenshot. It was like 193 during market hours. Like, that's crazy. That is crazy. And it didn't happen at all here when it was running up. It all happened in this time frame right here. The bid ask just went absolutely nuts because they just waterfalled it. Like, that's what they did. Happens all the time, right? We've seen it with GameStop. We've seen it with all these different things, right? But check this out. Look at how much stuff actually hit the lit exchange, and look how much went off exchange. 64% of the daily volume went off exchange. So retail basically was buying the crap out of the stock, and you know how much of it actually hit the exchange? Almost none of it. Like, that's insane. That shouldn't happen. Like, if retail actually was showing, if retail orders were showing up on the exchange, look at this. Yeah, and they can cap fees. They can, like, we can figure out, like, and I talked to them. I was like, would you guys be willing to work with retail and designing and looking, like, give us what we want. Like, we'll tell you what we want. And they're like, yeah, man, like, that's great. So, like, I think they've got an opportunity. Like, that's my opinion. And I told them, I was like, I don't have any stake in their company or anything like this point. Like, I'd love stake in their company. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I would love to be part of that. I would probably have to stop doing this if I get involved in that. And I would give you guys a heads up. But at this point, like, I want to see change in the market. And if these guys are willing to actually do that, that would be huge. Look at this. IEX. They only use, like, look how much got routed there. Only 147 shares or volume went through IEX. Imagine, though, if this went here. Imagine that. What do you think the stock would have done today? Do you think it would have done this? If all this exchange, off exchange happened in here on a lit exchange, I bet you the stock would have kept going up. And they wouldn't have a complete control of this. And that's on every single stock that we do. Like, whenever Aterian was running up, we would see 70% of the volume go off exchange. Like, what if we had a broker that actually made sure I mean, this is... Yeah, give me a steak and no beef. Yeah, like, there's a problem in our market, and that's because no one's willing to, everyone's willing to play ball. No one's willing to actually, like, go against the grain. And we need disruptors in the, like, fintech. Like, we need people that are like, you know what, I'll go against the grain. Yeah, like, you can make more money selling retail's like stuff for, payment for order flow, selling off data, all that stuff. I was like, but you guys could make money even if we capped it at like 1%, whatever. But we'd have to have volume. That means we'd have to have lots of different retail traders. So like this only works if those guys become big enough where they've got a ton of volume. And that's how they make their money. Because like if you're not selling payment for order flow, if you're not selling data, you're not going to be. Yeah, I just made an account on optionality. App's really nice so far. Yeah, I told the guys that I would talk about it at some point. I'm planning on having them on, I think maybe on Wednesday next week. And I want you guys to be in here, and I want you guys to actually like talk to them and ask them questions. And I've always said this, like, I'm not pushing any product on anyone. I had someone approach me last time, and I told them, I was like, listen, straight up, like, I will always run everything by the Discord before I do anything. But I do want to at least give these guys a chance to answer questions because I actually know these guys from like my personal life. So, these are good dudes. I've talked to them now all this week, and they actually seem like they care about what retail's problems are, and they're trying to figure out a way to solve it. This is not the way they designed the app. The app was supposed to be for the casual, like, options trader. That's basically what they would have done. But then I kind of got on with them. I started planting these bugs in their ear, like, listen, we've got a problem, and like retail has nobody on their side that's going to be willing to help. And like, would you guys be willing? Because you guys are at this point, like, they're still brand new, like they're 2 weeks out of the app store, and I'm like, you have a chance to actually like pivot and maybe do something bigger. Like, you guys could be what Robinhood should have been. Like, for the people, like, nice user interface, like, like just doing the things the right way. Like, think about this. If GameStop never happened, how many people would have been on Hood? Right? Like, Robinhood was huge for a while. Like, when they IPO'd, even when people hated them, people thought, their name's Optionality. I was going to say the two guys are good dudes, Alec and Adam, and yeah. So once again, like, this is not like me telling people to download it. I'm just telling you guys. I do want to give them a chance to talk, though. I think we should basically. They said that they are willing to listen to us and tell us, for us to tell them what we want in a brokerage. Because I think there's an opportunity for, like, everyone. Like, I want my shares to hit the lit exchange every single time I trade. And I don't feel like that's too freaking hard to ask for. But yet, nobody does it. Like, I have to, like, manually route every single trade every single time I do it. It's not like you can route, like, I guess on TD you can set it to go there, but like, I don't even trust that. I don't trust TD enough to actually do what I tell them to do. Yeah, the market is made to screw over retail, and that's the honest truth. And I want to see change. I want to see more information going to retail traders. I want to see I want to see transparency. And I want these brokers, like literally these two guys, I want them to explain how all this stuff works, because they started telling me stuff that I didn't know, and I'm like, holy crap. And they actually started looking into Redbox for me, because they have a trader and they have a trade desk, and like, yeah, the TD app is also awful. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the TD's app. I'm not a huge fan. Thinkorswim on desktop is great. Thinkorswim on like a tablet's not great. It's not horrible. It's better than most things. But like, what if you could actually have a brokerage that you could say this is, will doing a phone trade with a broker give you better odds at TDA? I don't know. Because I've never done it. Because honestly, like, So I used to have to do it because I had a computer share account long, long ago because it was actually given to me by my grandfather. And I had ExxonMobil and I had a couple other things. And you literally had to call them in to sell. I had to call them to say, hey, I want to sell 100 shares of ExxonMobil. And they would execute it for me. And like, literally, that was the only way I could do it. So, the old school style keeps advertising to me. Yeah, I would like to buy shares not requiring to DRS. Yeah, that'd be awesome, not having to do that. Now, the problem is, as long as we're buying shares on the DTC, see, like we're gonna end up having those shares lent out, T plus, all that stuff. But I do think at least the small thing that we can do in the beginning is at least make sure that our shares are hitting lit exchanges. I feel like that bare minimum, that should be a thing. Like if I push the buy button, I should see my shares hit the lit exchange. I shouldn't see it getting routed off and disappearing into the nethers and never hitting the lit exchange to add buying pressure or selling pressure. Like either one. It does, like, to me, that's super annoying, the fact that we can't even do that. Like, we hit the buy button for most of our brokerages and those shares never hit the lit exchange. And like, that is awful. So anyway, if you guys are cool with it, I was going to have him on Wednesday. Alec used to work for Susquehanna at one point, so he's part of Smart Money, and he's been on both sides, and he's taken all these exams. So he understands how the brokerages work. He understands how Money works within this, and he's learning about what we're doing on retail. And he was actually pretty impressed. I invited them into the Discord just to take a look. And I told them, I was like, listen, like, just take a look at the Discord. I want you to, if you guys see anything, just let me know. If we're doing something incorrect, I'd love to hear your opinions on certain things. And he was like, no, you guys are actually like really a lot more advanced than a lot of, when you work on Wall Street, they just assume all retail traders are dumb. And he's like, it's amazing how smart retail traders have become in the last couple of years. He's like, I mean, literally, it's night and day, just how much knowledge is starting to get out there. And he's like, and that's probably really scary to the powers that be because, yeah, they don't want retail traders to be smart. Like, they don't want them to know how this all works. They don't want people looking behind the curtain and going, oh, this is how the sausage is made? That's not great. It's like, yeah. I just noticed that's a gap, right? All right, so don't get too excited for the market. At some point, we're going to fill that gap down here at the 369 to 370. So we will revisit that. Don't feed that sausage to me. Share lending is reported to shareholder and question or optionable. They take a percentage of the share lending profits. Yeah, I mean, like, once again, like, these are all things that we can talk, but we'll see. All these smoke and mirror companies advertise like they're for the retail, and they're the exact opposite. They steal money from early investors, turn it off. Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, once again, if you guys don't like this, that's fine. I can, I won't. I'm not receiving any money from these guys. I am just passionate about trying to make the market a better place. And if these guys are willing to like talk to us, I think that's a pretty cool thing. I've never had like the CEO or CRO of even though they're a startup, of an actual live brokerage willing to sit there and talk to me and hear out my problems and so yeah, I mean. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, I thought that was pretty cool. So, I think if you guys want, they were talking about maybe figuring out a way of, doing some promotion or something like that. Like if you guys sign up that during that live stream, you'll get, some sort of like code or something. They'll throw you a little bit of money for doing it. I don't know. That's what they had said. I told them, I was like, I just want to see what the product looks like. So I downloaded it and I actually used it today, just like try it. And like I told them, I was like, I think you guys need to add more theta because they only have 4 weeks out. So, but they were basically, when they started out, their initial idea was basically like for the casual options trader. And the more and more they've listened to me, I think they're starting to be like, they started asking the questions and they were like, okay, well, we'll talk to IEX. So they actually literally like pivoted and said, we'll do this for you. So he set up a meeting with IEX and said, what would it take for us to get partnered with you guys? And they were working on that today. So, I think, I don't know. I think there's opportunity here for these guys, and like, I would love to see a broker listen to what retail traders want and then fix some of these problems that we have. Like I would gladly pay extra money per trade if my shares are hitting the lit exchange. Like to me, I'd make more money if all retail shares were starting to like actually hit lit exchanges and we even out this, off exchange crap where, this happens, where 63% of the daily volume goes, 7 million shares go off exchange and IEX only did 147,000. Like, you know what? There's a problem with that. And I know that's not every single one, but like, come on, like, guys, this is it. This is what's hitting the exchange. Come on. Like, anyway. So, that was just my rant. Sorry about that if it went a little off, but yeah. Anyway, so somebody was asking questions about a ticker. I think I missed it. BBIG gives me prog feels. So I can't wait till BBIG finishes with the Tide issues so we can stop hearing about it. I think it's going to be a giant nothing burger. Nothing ever works out. Yeah. I mean, yeah. BBIG just... I've told most of you guys my personal opinions. I don't like Ted Farnsworth. I think the guy's a con artist, and he's, obviously he got his hands. This is his company, and I think they hired someone competent in the CEO, the Lisa woman. She seems somewhat competent, but they keep missing dates, and that, I mean, they've pushed back Tide now, what, like 3-4 times, like. To me, that's starting to look like dysfunction, and it doesn't rub me the right way. And I bought shares back when they were like low 2s, and now like, I'm not going to sell them just because at this point, what's the point? But it's starting to feel like dysfunction, and that these guys are basically just really good at marketing and not great at actually making money. Because that's the honest truth. Like, until they start putting out products that make money, then, it's going to be what it is. All right. Mason wanted to check out Box D. So, obviously, oversold. Oversold could be the spring here. They brought it down a little bit today, though. You had 2 decent days, and now they've really broken that downtrend. So they don't want this curling up anymore, but let's see. Let's check it out. Let's look at Box D. What's dilution tracker say? Boxed. All right. Cash need is high. So they've got about 3 months left of cash based off the cash burn. They do have warrants at 11. They do have notes convertible also at 12. And they do have an equity line. Okay, so you do have possible dilution here in the form of 24 million in warrants, 7.29 in convertible notes, and an equity line of about 15 million. So that would bring your float up to about 100 and what, like 20 something, 130. So that's like basically doubling your float with all that dilution. But it also would raise up a bunch of cash. So institutional ownership is 37%. I'd have to look a little bit deeper than this, but it does appear that there's some dilution on the table, but the warrants are much higher than obviously the stock price, right? The stock price is at like $1. So, is this a turnaround? Do they try to pump it up a little bit? What's this? This is the $11. So this is where the warrants were or are. And it's just been in free fall. Now, I don't see, for example, let's see, they're an e-commerce retailer enabler, provides branded and private equity bulky pantry consumables such as paper products, snacks, beverages, cleaning supplies, business to consumer, business to business customers, vendor and enterprise retailers. Also provides enterprise e-commerce platform, was founded in 2013. I don't know. Do they make any money? It looks like they've been bleeding. So cash is down. Current assets are down. Liabilities are up. Negative shareholder equity. So obviously that's not great. So what's the attraction to Box D? Why do you like it? I mean, it does look like it's near its bottom. I mean, it's been down. That was like 7. So like, yeah. I mean, this looks like it should be close to its bottom. I think it's oversold, to be honest. Here, you're starting to cross over on the MACD. It's like you still have some room to go though for your TTM and your awesome. You haven't crossed over yet. I would say it might consolidate in this range and then makes the move up closer to maybe July. But we'll see. I mean, if they get a strong move up tomorrow and continues this uptrend, then yeah, you could see it running into the end of June into July. That's what I'd say. Let's see. Let's see. What do we got here? All right. Tell me why Box D? Why do people like Box D? Obviously this looks like it's going to cross over, but besides that, why do we like Box D? For those of you who bought it. Probably because it had a little run the other day. Bought too high. Box D has some social interest. Like social media interest. I mean, I'm looking at their balance sheet. They have a negative shareholder equity. Like, I mean, it's slightly improved. So, like, they're not as unprofitable as before. But, like, off fundamentals, I mean, I don't see anything that's, like, jumping out at me that's like, I need to buy this. But is it oversold? Yeah. So like, could this be a good value play where you buy it at the bottom and then Box D was a day trade for somebody. Box D has some social interest value play, not on my radar. Inflation concern. They don't sell paper boxers. I'm not interested. Okay. Worse the stock, better the warrant squeeze. Yeah, I mean, like, once again, they've got warrants up at 11, so, like, could they push the stock back up there? Yeah, like, I would actually at some point think that they would to raise that money. So, just looking for a reversal, not long. Yeah, I mean, like, if retail gets their stuff together and, you know, what's the float on it? Excuse me. Shares outstanding 68 million. Free float is 45 million. Shorts are 7% short on it. I mean, it's 3 million shares shorted, which is 7% of the free float. So, not like a super, you know, it's not a squeeze play, but it would just be, you know, Box D ticker coming on short squeeze Reddit. Yeah, it's not a short squeeze. It's got 7% like short interest. That's not a short squeeze. You don't squeeze 7%. Like 15 and over is typically what you would want for like it's not really a candidate unless it's over 15%, in my opinion. Oh, you were asking where people got it from. Yeah, I'm sure. Like, to me, it was just an undervalued stock, and people assume anything that's going to move is going to be considered short. Like, it's not a short squeeze. Like, warrant push, I mean, the underwriters might want to push it back up there. It's just a matter of, like, does the company, you know, I don't know. It could definitely move up if you've got the right people pushing it up, and that would probably be an underwriter of a warrant. But those warrants aren't that old, right? They're only, let's see. The warrants are from December 21 and SPAC warrants. So, anyway. Yeah, to me right now, I think Weber looks interesting as actual like short squeeze stock, and then I found another one that I don't know about. Was it this one? No, it was like FFIE, Faraday Future. Right, it came up on the screener that Fish had built on the Bloomberg, and I thought they were weird and interesting. And so I thought, okay, I'll throw a little bit of money at it. But it's because these guys, I'm not quite sure. Let me show you what I got on these guys. I think we figured out that they were trying to find it. All right. So, when he put this stuff out, he showed me that shares outstanding. I don't know if Fish is on here. Fish, you on here? Give me a shout if you are. But if not, shout out to Fish. He built this cool tracker. So check this out, right? So he found that utilization is 99.71% on S3 data from Bloomberg, and that there wasn't a ton of shares, and that the crowded score was 85 and the squeeze risk was 75, but they had 238 million shares outstanding, but insiders and institutions owned 206 million of them, which gives you a free float of about 30 million, right? But when you look at the shares, the short interest shares, it was at 26 million according to S3 data, which means that 81% of the SI is shorted on this one, which I thought was interesting. So, hey Anna, there's a really cool video trending right now that analyzes Michael Burry's thoughts on recession. Would you be down to do a live reaction to it? Yeah, sure. I think Burry... So here's the deal with Burry. Burry is a freaking genius, but he's always early. Like, always early. So, what you have to do is this. If you want to be smart like Michael Burry, you have to say whatever he tells you and then put like a year and a half onto it. So if he was claiming that this stock market was going to crash a year and a half ago, it means that you wait a year and a half and then you start shorting everything you can. Because he's always early. Like, he doesn't know how to be, like, he just looks at the research and goes, yeah, we're screwed. So, yeah. And he always thinks the stuff is going to, this stuff's going to crash. But he's typically right about stuff. He's just always early. So I think the guy is very, very smart. And I think he understands. But the problem is he has a problem with Burry was saying it was going to crash about a year and a half ago. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Yeah, exactly. Like, he's always... Let's see. Someone posted on all his predictions that never came to true. It's like 90%. Yeah, I mean, once again, when he finds something, it's typically because there is an anomaly that he has spotted. And what I'll tell you is this. Just because you've spot something doesn't mean that it actually will come to fruition. So, like, you notice when he was trying to figure out why... or if you watch The Big Short, right? Do you remember when they went into the ratings agencies and they were like, hey, like, how could you guys be rating these things? These are absolute crap bonds. Like, how can you be rating these things, A+, when you know they're not? And she's like, she's the lady with the glass, and she's like, well, they'll do business with somebody else if we don't rate them this way. And they're like, holy crap, this is, corrupt as all. They would have kept doing that until the wheels came off. And that's essentially what happens is, like, the reason why Burry often is wrong. He's not wrong about the fact that the market was going to, fall apart back then. He was very, very right. He went through all that research and figured out something that nobody else was seeing, literally had a vehicle created so he could short the housing market. And, that's pretty crazy, the fact that he, like, basically went to them and was like, I want you guys to make something for me, like a new investment vehicle that I can short all this stuff. And they were like, this is crazy, but we'll take your money. And he was losing money for like a year and a half. And then finally it all came apart. But I think it would have kept going longer if it had not been for the other guys, Mike Baum, or was his name, was it something Baum? Steve Baum, I think was his name. But he was more proactive, and he actually, like, because he was in Wall Street at a small firm, he actually, kind of put the pressure to them to get these, start having people look at these bonds in a more serious and fair light, and that's when they started realizing the wheels were about to come off the bus. So, But yeah, I'd be fine to watch Michael Burry's video. If you want to link it to me and DM me in the Discord, that'd be great. I'll take a look at it, and break it down if you guys want me to. I've never done a reaction video because I'm not really like a YouTuber or anything, but his Tesla play was pretty rad. I mean, yeah. The wheels on the bus go up and down. Yep. Well, yeah, anyway. According to the S3 data that we pulled from Bloomberg when I was going over this with Fish, these guys are like 81% short. And like I looked at Ortex and I don't see anything like that. So let's see. FFIE. Ortex only has them at like 26% short. But you look at the cost to borrow, though. The cost to borrow shot up. So I think something's going on here. And like, so here's the deal, right? Why does Ortex have them as a 96%? Right? Like, hold on. I just want to show you guys this. I want you to see this right here. So, FFIE, right? Why do they have a 96.01 short score for only 26% of the the free float shorted? Right? Like, but look, the cost to borrow average, like, something's going on here. There's like a couple of these stocks that like we're finding that like you look and their ownership's like way off and like no, like there are clearly something's going on here, right? And can you show or yeah, I did sign up for Ortex. I was just sick and tired of not having it to show you guys. So because I know so many of you guys actually want to. Yeah, it's something's weird on it. Like, so this screener that Fish built, he and I are going through it, and we're trying to find some interesting ones on the side. SPXU to hedge. How long are you going to hold? So for me, I'm adding right now because obviously on the SPY, we've had these nice green days, right? Everything's great. I'm expecting us to gap fill those 340s levels. So for me, what I did was I bought SPY puts at 350, and I'm adding to them every single green day. Like literally, I'm just doing that. So yeah, like right now, these two are really interesting to me: WEBR and Fifey. I don't know how FFIE. I haven't read any DD on it. I haven't read any DD on WEBR. I still like DTC. I still love Aterian. Like these are all things that I'm just looking at, though, kind of like I'm trying to give you guys some options. I think Aterian's going to keep going up, and I think we're going to see a run probably in the next, I don't know, maybe in July. We could see a run. And I think DZ had some stuff that, So, but yeah, like these are just some ones I'm eyeing right now, and I'm also adding SPXU 20. I think I added a couple $30 calls to hedge. Yeah, DZ has great DD, and I want to get DZ on here, and he and I can go back and forth and kind of talk Aterian and a couple other things, and talk to you guys about let's figure out whenever you go long on something, make sure you protect yourself. And I think that's something I want to start. Like, let's be smart. Like, let's be smart retailers. Like, let's protect ourselves. If we're going to go one way on a trade, yeah, it can limit some of your gains, but it can also protect you when things go sideways. And so often, like look at Redbox. Redbox shouldn't have gone sideways, but it did, right? So far. And that's because the broker screwed you. So, like, what do you do on that? Like, but if you had bought a couple puts or shorted, now in this case they shut off those things, so that's not a great example, obviously, now that I'm thinking about it. But you know, you protect yourself to the downside, and this is unusual that they shut off options like this. But for most stocks, they're not going to do that. But like Revlon, right? Like, so they go up here. You're sitting here at like 10, basically. You know this is a large run up. Like, if you had bought a couple puts, like, and then sold them down here, right? Did we gap up? Yeah, we gapped up. You know it's going to gap fill at some point. So if you had bought a couple puts, you would have made some money on this. You could sell them today and then put them back into, more shares, down here. These are all just things I was thinking about the other day and trying to make sure that we do things, the smart way. Anyone that's hanging out with us and, like in the Discord, let's try to make sure we protect our assets and do the right things and, All right. Anyway, it's 11:25. I went way longer than I normally do. Oh no, he's found another gem. Yeah, we'll see. But once again, like I'm not here to pump new things. All I'm here to do is just talk to you guys about weird things I'm finding, and then you guys can make any decisions you want based off of that. But like, just things are weird right now. FFIE had a management shakeup. Yeah, I don't. Once again, I haven't researched all these things. I'm just finding weird anomalies with this scanner with fish, and we came up with these. This one, the WEBR came up really high on that list, and there's a couple more that are just kind of there. I know, Dirty, didn't you find BHAT, right? Was that you that found BHAT, which ran up like 300 something percent today? Yeah, like 200 and something, but at its peak, it ran up, I believe, like 300 and something percent. Yeah, like. These are things that, like, if we can find these things ahead of time, that would have been awesome. Like, I know you still are on it, but, like, for me, what's the deal? They have to drag the VWAP up to, like, 2 or 323 or something like that, and then they can basically get rid of the warrants. Something like that, I think. And so, yeah, could it go even higher? Sure. But, yeah. Good night, Anna, and thanks for the stream and the DD. Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I know we're not like a huge group, but like I feel like we've got a core group of people that's fun. And check your DM. Okay, I'll check my DMs. Toe lover. All right, good stuff. Warrants are called off. Yeah, so like, we'll see. I mean, I want to see kind of, let's find weird new things and let's, like, continue supporting the stocks that we really like long term, like I do. Like, I'm always gonna. This is my baby. Like, I got all sorts of notes and things in here, and I've got a nice long position in here, and I'll continue buying this stock. But I also want to find some things here like this and make some money on the side too. So I'm going to continue just giving you guys what I find. I'm always going to keep holding and buying. But yeah, I just want to... Everything is weird. No markets make much sense. Housing, equities, crypto. Yeah, I mean, I think honestly what's happening is just the last thing I'll say. I think... Number one, we have gaps to fill down here at the 340s. And I think smart money pulled their money out up here, and they're looking for an entry further down, right? And so the question is, where are they going to put this money? Are they going to put it back in the S&P? Sure, I'm sure a bunch of it will go there. Will they rotate some of it into small caps because it's been beat down for so long? There's a lot of stuff that can be in there. It's great to be in here, too, as long as you help all and not whiny little... Yeah, but I agree, Josh. There's some weird stuff going on, and nothing quite has made sense. What I think might happen, though, is I do think at some point you're going to see a meme run again. And I don't know when it's going to happen, but I do think you're going to see some sort of meme stock run, and it's going to be pretty hard and fast. And will it get shut down? I don't know. But I think liquidity-wise, there's a reason why they're having to drain some stuff out of the market that they didn't probably want to drain as quickly and as fast. So we'll see. To stave off margin calls is my guess. So anyway, if you haven't liked the video by now, can you? That'd be great. And if you want, I'll put the Discord link in so you guys can go ahead. Yeah, this makes life a little bit more fun. Yeah, well, you know what? I enjoy hanging out with you guys and talking about all this stuff, and I hope you guys feel the same and enjoy the Discord and hanging out with this community and kind of growing with it. I think my goal is going to be trying to get better for you guys, just in every way, like in general. Like I want to make sure that I'm teaching, I'm things, and I'm showing you weird anomalies like this one, and WEBR, and we can find new things to look at, and DTC's float had been kicking my butt, and so hopefully I think I figured it out. But once again, I'm still learning as far as that particular one, because I've never seen a float that looks like that, because they also have LOCs involved, and they have all sorts of weird things I've never seen. And I went to a CPA and I asked for his help. So hopefully he's going to come back to me and he's going to explain how all that works, because I've never seen an LLC with a corporate structure, and then the LLC has some Class B shares, but at the same time they have that's very complex for a float. That's not a normal way of setting up a company. So nothing wrong with it. It's just this is how they structured it, and so I've never seen one that looks like that before. So anyway, yeah, you guys have a wonderful night. Check out the Discord if you're not part of it, and then I hope to see you guys around. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Good night.